Listen carefully, because this is not something you learn. It is something you begin to notice. There are moments in your life when things should have gone completely wrong, when outcomes could have collapsed, when consequences should have been heavier than what you actually experienced. And yet somehow, something softened the impact. Something reduced what could have been overwhelming into something bearable. You may not have questioned it at the time. You may have called it luck, coincidence, or simply moved on without thinking deeper. But if you look closely, you will start to see a pattern. There have been countless situations where the result you received was not equal to what your actions deserved. Something held back the full weight. This is where the first shift begins, because most people believe life operates on strict balance, action and reaction, cause and consequence. But your experience has already shown you that this is not always true. There is an unseen layer that interrupts outcomes, that softens consequences, that allows space where there should have been none. State 1 is where a person lives without noticing this at all. Everything feels random. Good moments feel temporary. Difficult moments feel unfair. There is no deeper connection, only surface-level interpretation of events. In this state, life feels heavier because every outcome appears absolute. State 2 begins when a person starts noticing inconsistencies in that belief. Moments where things could have gone worse but did not. Situations where help arrived unexpectedly. Times where you were given another chance without fully understanding why. These moments plant a question, even if you do not consciously ask it. State 3 is where awareness starts to form. You begin to feel that there is something operating beyond visible cause and effect. Not everything is earned in the way you once believed. Not everything is lost in the way you once feared. There is a layer of allowance, a space where outcomes are adjusted. Psychology often speaks about perception, about how your mind filters reality. But perception alone cannot explain why certain outcomes are softened beyond logic. There are systems that operate beyond your awareness, influences that do not announce themselves, yet they shape what reaches you and what does not. State 4 is where this understanding becomes personal. You begin to look back at your own life and realize how many times you were protected from the full impact of your own decisions. How many times consequences were delayed, reduced, or completely redirected, not removed entirely, but adjusted in a way that allowed you to continue. This is not randomness, this is precision, because if every action led to its full immediate consequence, most people would collapse under the weight of their own mistakes. There would be no room for growth, no space for correction, no opportunity to evolve. State 5 is where something deeper settles within you. You begin to feel that what reaches you is not only based on what you do, but also on what is being allowed to reach you. There is a difference between what you deserve and what you actually experience. And that gap is not empty. It is filled with something unseen. Now think about this carefully. How many times were you given time when you should have faced immediate results? How many times did things slow down instead of collapsing? How many times did something you feared did not fully happen the way you imagined it would? This is where the illusion of complete control begins to break. Because if outcomes were purely mechanical, purely based on action and reaction, there would be no variation. But your life has already shown you that variation exists, and not randomly, but consistently in a way that gives you space. Space to reflect, space to change, space to become something else before the full weight arrives. There are ideas in modern thought that try to explain this through mindset or belief, concepts that say your perception shapes your reality. But even those ideas do not fully explain why certain consequences are reduced beyond your own awareness or control. Because this is not only about perception, this is about intervention, There is a system where consequences are not always immediate, where outcomes are not always delivered in their full form, where time itself is adjusted to allow transformation before final results take place. And if you look at your own life without denial, you will see it. Moments where you were given more time than you deserved. Moments where things were eased without explanation. Moments where the impact was less than it could have been. This is not something loud. It does not announce itself. It does not seek recognition. It operates quietly, consistently, without interruption. State 6 is where this awareness changes how you see everything. You no longer view life as purely harsh or purely fair. You begin to recognize a balance that includes something else. Something that softens, that allows, that delays. And once you notice this, you cannot fully unsee it. Because now every situation carries a deeper layer. Every outcome feels connected to something beyond immediate logic. You begin to move differently, not out of fear, but out of awareness that what reaches you is not always the full extent of what could have reached you. This is where a deeper realization begins to form, that there is a quality embedded into reality itself, a quality that is constantly active, constantly present, constantly shaping what you experience in ways you do not fully see, a quality that gives before it takes, that allows before it holds accountable, that softens before it strengthens. And if at any point in your life you have felt this, even once, then you have already come into contact with it. This is not something you imagined, and it is not something random. The reason you have felt this softness in your life, the reason certain things were eased, delayed, or forgiven before reaching their full weight, is because there is a reality already active around you, a reality where mercy comes before consequence, where you are given time before you are held accountable. And this is not coming from nowhere. This is coming from the one who is constantly dealing with you in ways you do not fully see. The most gracious, the most merciful Lord of all worlds. This is his way with you. And if you are able to recognize even a part of this within your own life, then understand this clearly. You are not disconnected. You are already under that mercy, already being dealt with through it. And that is exactly why this message has reached you.